Okay, thank you. So today I'm going to cover a couple of interesting topics related to Internet of Things, and that will actually touch some of the points that were mentioned before during the previous presentations. So we are going to see how our threat landscape is modifying itself through time and how that impacts our day-to-day life. And after that, we are going to see how and what we can do actually to help ourselves to be in a better position toward the new threats that are emerging. So what is the problem in the world today? We saw that multiple times people mention digital fortress, that you are fortress. Unfortunately, there is fortress no more. When I started working in IT a long time ago, it was simple. We have our internal network, then we have big firewall, and then we have external network. So we did have concept of our fortress there. So we know what is to protect, we know where is the enemy, and we have big wall and trenches and cannons and everything to protect our fortress, which was inside of our perimeter. Today, we see that things are getting a little bit different. First, it starts in our work. So we now have a lot of devices everywhere. People are no longer working from the offices, but from around the world, from their homes, from the planes, from the trains, wherever they are traveling. And that is penetrating through our defenses. So we need to open up people from outside to be able to access services that are normally provided only for the insiders. And on the other side, we see bring your own devices. We have employees with powerful phones which are trying to access services which are no longer inside. Then we see this integration from our business to the social networks. So everybody wants to be there on LinkedIn, everybody wants to be on Facebook, to advertise, to tweet, to do whatever they want. So we are seeing change in our security landscape. But following that change, we see that number of attacks are suddenly increasing through time. And it is not something that is happening only to somebody else, it is happening to all of us all the time. So we can see that on 2011 we have very small number of breaches, which were mostly specialized breaches targeted toward the companies. Then we see that 2012 bring a big increase in size, number, and impact of those vulnerabilities. And today we are heading toward the continuous attacks. We know that as advanced persistent threats are everywhere, and they are targeting everything and everybody. We see corporate and government-sponsored attacks on different levels and size. We see terrorists, we see industrial espionage. Everything is happening online, and we need to be ready for that. So why does it matter? Long time ago, in time of Philippides, who ran to whisper to his king that they won the war, we see that the threat landscape was pretty much the same. We have courier transferring message to somebody on the other side. So from attacker perspective, we had a wide range of possibility to attack that carrier. It was just problem finding it in the world. So we changed a little bit. Our carrier was no longer running through the fields. We introduced pigeons. We introduced snail mail. We introduced different stuff. But somewhere toward the end of 19th century, our threat landscape started to change a little bit with the introduction of first electric-based devices for communications, like first telegraph, and in beginning early 20th century, first telephone. How this started to change stuff? Now we no longer have a wide range of periods from the generation of message until the message is delivered. Now it can happen almost at the same time. So just somebody needs to go to telegraph, type the message, and the electronic currents will transfer the message to the other hand. That's changed the threat landscape. So for attacker to intercept this message, he don't have anymore a large amount of time to intervene, but message is sent at the moment. Again, on the other side, now we know where is our carrier. It is in the wires, so it is enough to sit on the wires, put up the spy phone, and hear the message that is happening. And that was running well until the 80s, when threat started to evolve. Phones started to evolve, and we have entered into digital era, which started to introduce a little bit. It was not longer enough for us to just connect to the wires. We needed to do some decoding and encoding and stuff like that. So digital signal was multiplexed. It was a little bit different in nature, but again, it was again in the wires. Somewhere toward the mid of 1990s, we have new things that started to emerge. So something that was previously reserved only for research facilities and universities started to enter our home, and we gained access to first internet connections. And from that point, everything is starting to change very rapidly. With the evolution of our mobile phones, which started as a very big and bulky devices, until the current very small devices and very powerful devices, which has more power than the supercomputers of the early internet era, and integrate internet to it, and that is exposing us to, from day to day to new threats. And it begins to become really, really worse. I already mentioned that there is no longer fortress, but for now, until the last couple of years, it was mostly oriented toward our work. At our home, we can say we have our fortress there. We know what is inside, what is outside. So we were pretty much safe. But today, with our devices and appliances being exposed to the internet, we are now opening ourselves to those attacks that I mentioned in the second or third slide, which are evolving continuously. So we are starting to experience a lot of attacks toward the persons in different forms that I will discuss a little bit later. But important is to know that this trend is started and it is not going to stop. It is going to start to penetrate all parts of our life sooner or later, and before you know, everybody can get attacked. So bad things are happening to everybody. It is not just you and me, it is everybody. We see a large military installation that are attacked by the corporate or government. So be aware, there is not just people in black who are maybe obvious, but there are people who are not in black and who can attack you anytime without any notice. So how we are come to this point? So where are the attacks? So first problem is that data become actual currency. So those guys in black are actually trying to find our own data, which can be sold on the black market, on that dark net that we also heard about mentioned before. So those guys are from darknet, as you can see, they are everywhere. We just came not to notice them. We can trip over them, but not be aware that they are around. So they are targeting our personal data, and our personal data is disseminated everywhere. We can find personal data on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, a lot of social networks. They offer us service in exchange for our data. Also, this data is very interesting for identity theft. We know that in the black market you can buy credit card numbers for like $10, and that is a working account. But for complete identity, which includes social security number, name, last name, family names, everything that you actually need to model a person, you can buy for about a couple $100. So complete identity can be bought for a low amount of money on the black market. So this is why it is really important to be aware that everybody can get attacked every time. Problem that we are seeing every day is that very small number of attacks are actually detected. So most successful attacks are actually not detected sitting somewhere. You remember Stuxnet, which was already mentioned before. Nobody knows for how long it actually runs in Iranian nuclear enriching factory before it was discovered. And it was discovered by accident when it escaped from that environment in the wild. So they noticed that aftermath showed that for 6 months before they actually detected Stuxnet, they had the number of centrifuge going offline from a couple of hundred per month to 1,000 per month. So it was running a long time in the background before it was actually identified. So a lot of threats are not visible and not known to us. It happened from us when we go to customer site, we connected some device to sniff the traffic, and we started to see something and ask customer, sorry, do you know what is this? Oh, this shouldn't be happening. And we discovered that they have something, some malicious software running in their network, something that is exfiltering the data from their infrastructure. So that is the point. There is no fortress anymore anywhere, and even our homes are not safe. So we see that number of incidents are growing constantly, and currently single loss of data is about $150 for company that lost data. So it is a big impact to your financial bottom line in the end. And as I mentioned, we are no more secure at our homes than we are in our workplaces. We want to integrate our homes to have a optimized efficiency, to better use electricity, to better use our time, so we program our lights to go up when we are awake and to go down. We program our AC control to do what it needs to do, to lower or to warmer our home when we are there. We have lights control, and what is the problem in this setup? These new technologies are mostly focused toward convenience. And we know that convenience and security are not always aligned. So that big problem is not addressed properly currently because all companies are mostly covering convenience part. So we saw different products. For example, we were analyzing a product which was brought by the big company that controls your light in the house. And although the product itself was nice and easy and have some basic security implemented in it, it offered capability to integrate with your Facebook account. So you can set it up in such a way that when you are tagged in a photo on Facebook, your lights go blinking. No problem there. But also you can change this setting, not to blink, but to change to the dominant color of the picture you were tagged in. So if you are somewhere in the nature, everything is green, somebody tags you on such picture and your lights in house goes green. Problem here was what we did. We created completely black pictures, uploaded to Facebook and start tagging the target, and house was completely in dark with this setting. So even if you have two technologies which are fairly secure from our point of view, so integration between them offers a new threats to us. So we could put a house in complete lights out mode just by doing something on the Facebook. And to be honest, it is easy to target anybody on the Facebook. You just need a couple of keywords entered into the Facebook, LinkedIn, or any other social network, and we will get a lot of data about the target and we will know everything. It just enables us also to do password resets to gain access to financial data. Why? Because you often see there are some security questions on the banking sites that allows you to retrieve the data from the account. So you just go research this person on the internet, call the bank, they will ask you questions. You might not know answers at the beginning. You go back, research a little bit more, find concrete answers. What is your first pet? And you find on the Instagram picture of your first pet and everything about it. So you come back to, now I know. Okay, what is the next question? Oh, that I have from Facebook. Oh, that I have from LinkedIn. Excellent. I gain access to your financial data. I can get access to your medical data. I can get access to any kind of data because of this integration with social networks. The other problem is, okay, you are not safe in the work. You are not safe in your home, but problem is that as time goes, you're not safe in your cars anymore. We see a trend toward connectivity in car. Your car become actually moving internet access point. So it is just one more endpoint in Internet of Things. Your car is a small computer, not so small actually, computer, which have some internal connectivity to offer you convenience. So you have infotainment system in your cars where you put your phone, it will automatically associate itself via Bluetooth to enable you to have hands-on, to call. Then you will have GPS connectivity. So you will have a lot of connectivity in your car. You will have connectivity for your tire pressure sensors, which are usually wireless. And we did some research in this area before. In 2011, we found out that one of the manufacturers was so good done that as soon as we associated phone, we were able to control the engine of the car. Luckily, at this time, we still don't have fully automated car controls, and we were not able to impact the steering or to remove the brakes, but we could brake, we could disrupt ABS system, we could play with your servo, so we put it on high mode, so you were not possible to, very difficult to steer. Then we just change this to very low settings, and from this, you go to this. And we can brake, we can change the brake intensity different wheels, thanks to ABS system. So we could play a lot of parameters there. Second time we did 2 years after that, new research, it was a lot better. So still possible to impact the car, but not so easily and not so completely. Problem is that we are heading into the world of self-driving cars. So for now, I already saw some of the cars that can be automatically parked. So you just, I want to park, remove your hands, remove your legs from controls, and just let car do the job for you. And that means that some computer inside your car have full control of that car. Acceleration, brake, steering. That scares a lot. For me, I don't know if you feel confident, but I certainly don't. So the third part is our bodies themselves. We see progress of medical devices, which are really life-saving, and they are impacted in us. So to be able to control them and to change settings in them without going through expensive surgeries, they introduce Bluetooth and wireless connectivity, and you can control it over your phone. And that is the source, root cause of all our problems are actually that everything we want to do, there is an app for our phone for that. And those apps are not really secure because some of our research showed that number of malware distributed in all major markets that distribute applications to Apple, to Android, and to Windows are actually spiking up. So through time, they are not more secure, but there is more attacks through that. So malicious application, which can do a lot of bad stuff to your heart pump, insulin pump, to your car, to your home, to your work, are actually distributing themselves very efficiently over those markets. And what will future bring? You know that yesterday was Back to the Future Day. Dave and Marty McFly from end of 80s flew back in the future into 21st October 2015 to meet with flying cars, flying hoverboards, self-adjusting clothes which will dry itself up. So in 1890s, when this movie was out, it seemed like a far, far, far future, but we are now living in future, and we already see that even our perception of the world is changing. So we are becoming more digital humans than humans. When I was young, when I wanted to play football, I need to take a ball, go outside, find a couple of kids from the neighborhood, then go kick the balls around, go back home all dirty with grass stains, which my mother always explained that they are very difficult to wash. Today's kids will just pop up the phone, connect to the internet and play football over some console or their PCs or whatever to be able to do whatever. They will never get dirty, so their mothers must be much more happier than mine. So, what to do? IBM is offering some services in regarding to this area, specifically related to applications and device testing. So we are working a lot and hard to keep those bad black people out of our mind and out of our homes and our phones and our everything. So whenever you need help, there is emergency response service you can call, and number of white hat guys will come and save you from the threat that you are experiencing. We also have specific services related to devices, so we can test all these devices that I mentioned, and we are doing that actively, so there is a big chance that phone that you are having in your hands was tested by IBM services before. So, final answer to my question, is my fridge spying on me? Is, unfortunately, if not yet, it will be doing that soon. So that's it. Thank you. I hope we are on time.
Right. Thank you very much for the performance as well. Now, this reminds me some things that happen actually in the nature. You know, when you want to eliminate some pest or so, you introduce some Australian species of some deadly wasps or whatever, so they kill the malicious wasps you have a problem with. So in this case, white software comes in, catches malicious software. So, but the size is similar. Now we are used to a huge software to fight some malicious code, to look for the viruses, etc., etc. It's usually huge. It's so a malicious code is usually small, tiny, knows how to hide, etc. Now this scenario introduces something rather new, that you also use some tiny bits of software to discover some strange behavior in the network.
Yes, there are a lot of actually techniques. First off, there is not always that malware is small. We saw the Stuxnet was about 10 to 100 times larger than threats you're usually seeing, because it involved a lot of coding inside it, and it was really sophisticated threat. But you're right, usually attacking code is small. So IBM is having these services which are using something that we call the key compromise indicators that are checked and analyzed. So this is just small pieces of your system that are checked for those key. And if we saw that some of those key indicators indicates possibility that you are penetrated or having some issues with bugs, we can do something to help it. And actually, security is not one big product that you need to install. Our approach is in layers. So you have small layer that protects one part. For example, we have human, we need to interact with human. Human is the root cause of all problems related to security. So we have social engineering, that is attack, and we have education that will help. That is on one layer. Then you need to enforce people to not divulge their passwords easily. Then we need to educate people what kind of information they need to provide online. So it is a lot of small steps that you need to do to be secure. It is not enough to buy one big product. From IBM sales, they will be lucky if I say, you need to buy a lot of big IBM products to be secure. Yeah. But actually, that is part of the truth. You need some big products, but you need a lot of small steps that must be implemented to be not secure, but in control. That is the more correct. Okay.
Right. We have time for one tiny question. Anybody wants to shoot? Ooh. Okay. You see, the audience, these are IT professionals, and even if they buy some electronic gadgets that could spy on them, so they are clever enough to turn off maybe some missing features, etc., not to leave their voice track in the
or they are sleeping. So
So anyway, thank you very much for your presentation.
Thank you.
And thank you for the show. We loved watching some action on the stage. The action on the stage is always the right thing. Okay, a warm applause. Thank you very much.